Hello everybody. We're back to the lockdown. My aim over the next however many days, however many weeks, is to give you a Tai Chi session every day, Monday to Friday. I should be down here in the garden. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of snow and I'll be able to sort of like do some sort of like movements in the snow, which I'm sure will look very picturesque, although chilly. You'll notice I've got my coat on, my hat on. It's a little bit of a different situation to the last time I did this. I think the last one was around July time on the Facebook group. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to go right the way back to the basics, and we're going to work all the way through from the basics. So I know there'll be children who are watching this who have never ever done this before, and it's important to get those sorts of basics in there. So when we do a few more complicated things, if I say turn this way doing that move, you know what we're doing, you'll be able to remember it. So the aim is today is to go through all of those. Now you'll probably hear in the background also chirping. I've got a robin at the moment, and you guys can't see this, but there's a robin literally about 2 feet to the left hand side of the camera, sat on a little bit of wood, and the robin's really friendly. This robin constantly follows me around the garden, so if you notice, and if the robin jumps near my feet, he'll move away pretty quickly, this sort of stuff. But I've actually got him to the point where he'll nearly come into my hand, so he's really close. He's literally just here at the side, which you guys can't see, but trust me, it's about camera there, robin's about here, and he's looking at me at the moment. So maybe he'll land on my shoulder. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Anyway, going to do the first thing, which is a bow in Tai Chi. All right, so if you bring your hand across the front of your face and make a gentle fist, okay, like that. It's not tight, you're not clenching your fist, it's just a gentle sort of like fist there. In other words, imagine you've got a little bird's egg, quite apt now, we've got a robin at the side. Imagine you've got a little bird's egg there, you don't want to break it, so you're going to go across like that and grab there, so just hold it. We call that holding the moon, right? So you'll never look up at the sky at night the same after this. So when you see the moon up there, right, you put your hand up and sort of maybe go like that and grab the moon. Okay, now you get your moon in your hand. So bring your hand across your face and then hold the moon there. And then this hand is a cloud. So the cloud's going to come right the way across and melt all the way around there, okay? So if you can see that, we do this sideways on, come across and melt round that, okay? There's nothing particularly complicated, all right? But what we've got to do at the same time, we have to bring our feet together. So if you bring your hand across the front of your face and hold the moon, then bring your cloud across. Now as you bring your cloud across, bring your feet together, there, okay? And then a bow, all right? So it's a very gentle sort of move, and that means we're starting. That's the very start. Little bit like, you know, if you walk into a classroom, into a school, as soon as you walk through the school doors, the main doors, your day has started in school, and then when you leave, obviously you're going to walk back through the doors. So at the end, what we're going to do is we're going to do the same bow right at the end. If I remember, if we get everything going in my head. All right, so that's the bow. Now, if you put your feet shoulder width apart, okay. So to find shoulder width, all you do is just sort of like, just move your hands like that. You should just be able to touch the tops of your legs, just touching. If you touch the tops of your legs, you know that your legs are wide enough. If you do it where your feet are together, you'll miss the tops of your legs, they're too narrow. So if you do that. Now what you have to do in a horse stance is you have to relax your shoulders, you have to bend your knees a little bit, so you're going to sink down. Probably around about an inch and a half if we're working in inches, or about 2 to 3 centimeters, that sort of thing, okay? So just bend, called unlocking your knees, all right? So you're not going to stand straight like that, you're going to unlock your knees. And you should find that that's quite a pleasant sort of like position to be in. You should find that you can go really nice and relaxed and really floppy. So remember, relax your shoulders, relax your face if you can, okay? When you first learn Tai Chi, relaxation's not easy, but after you learn the movements, it's extremely easy and it's really, really beneficial for you. So relax your shoulders, let your arms just hang there, okay? Now that's known as a horse stance. So if you look down at your feet, horse stance. But if you imagine now, if you were sat on a horse, it's a really skinny horse, isn't it? So what we're going to do is we're going to make it twice as wide. So if you look down at your feet, if we were doing this in snow, it'd be perfect, because all I'm going to do now is say, like, lift one foot. So if you lift one foot up, and then you imagine then you've got a footprint in the snow and you step out, so now the footprint is right in the center of your body, and you basically doubled your width. Okay, so if we try that again, so if we do a horse stance, if I go this way a little bit, because I'm going to go over that side. So if you stand in your horse stance, so shoulder width, and then if you lift your foot up and imagine you were stood in some snow, which we had 2 days ago here, lift your foot up, okay, so lift up, you've got a footprint, step over the footprint, okay, and now if the footprint's right in the center of your body, you've all of a sudden, you've gone out and you've doubled your horse stance width, okay, you've gone twice as wide. All right, so because it's a horse stance, right, you're actually going to sit on the horse, so it's a riding horse. So you've got horse stance, feet together, then we go out to a wider horse stance, and they call that a riding horse stance. So you're going to bend your knees slightly, so you're going to sit on the horse. And then the other things we have to do, you put your hands out, get a hold of the reins of the horse, pull the reins back, turn them over, tuck them in. And some of you will have seen that before, that position there, okay? It's a riding horse stance, okay? So riding the horse stance, sit on your horse, there. You'll find when you do this that your legs will ache a little bit when you do this. You'll find it here, those muscles above your kneecaps called the quadriceptor muscles, okay? Your quadriceptor muscles. You will definitely find that will ache. If you find it aches, that's good. If you find it's hurting, straighten up a bit more, okay? So if you bend your knees a little bit, you'll find a nice ache there, and the nice ache, right, that's a good thing. It's building muscles, this sort of stuff. So always challenge yourself. Don't go and stand like that. Anybody can stand like that with the legs wide, okay? Bend your knees slightly, all right, and pull your hands in to here. So you've got riding horse. So they're the first two. So you've got your horse stance, shoulder width, and then imagine you stood in some snow, or let's go summer. Imagine you're still on the beach, so you're still in some sand, and you've got a footprint, lift up, step over, and there you go. Okay, hands out, grab reins, pull them back, turn them over, tuck them in, sit on your horse. Okay, excellent. Right, 3 more of the ways of standing, much easier than those two. When we did the holding the moon, okay, we brought our feet together. So if you bring your feet together and your feet are touching, so if you think that my hands are like my feet, I'm bringing them together and they're touching there, all right? So when they're touching, that's known as a bee stance, okay? It's like a buzzy bee, a bee stance, all right? So feet together are a bee stance. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to put your feet apart about as wide as you could fit in a spare shoe. Okay, so it's not as wide as the horse stance, which is as wide as your shoulders, but about as wide as what you could fit a spare shoe. So we've all got different size feet. Okay, so spare shoe. So for me, my feet are going to be around about that width. Okay, so I'm going to go up a little bit wider. So if I look down now, I've actually got, I can bring a spare shoe in. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit bigger than a spare shoe, but definitely not 2 spare shoes side by side, so not as wide as that sort of thing for me, because you're edging out towards the horse stance. So as wide as that, okay? So look down, bend your knees slightly, only a little bit, and that's called a bear stance. All right, so it's taken from the animal, the bear, the animal bear, okay? So there, all right? So we've got a bee stance, feet together. We got a bear stance where there's 1-ish spare shoes between your feet. Now all we're going to do now is going to do the third one of this new batch, so the 5th one in total. We're going to do, and we're going to join our heels. So keep your feet where they are, and bring your heels in. So if you can see that, your heels now are making a V shape. So that's known as an eagle stance. All right? And when they do Tai Chi movements, often you'll see them coming in, they touch their heels and they move away. And wherever the foot is pointing, that's where they're going to go. So if you look down now at your feet, if you're making a V or a V shape with your feet, you're not suddenly just going to turn around and go behind you. You're not going to go off to the side this way. You're going to go where your feet are pointing. So if I look at that foot there, that's pointing there. So that's where I'm going to walk next. If I bring my feet in and I point over there, that's where I'm going to walk next, okay? So wherever your feet are pointing is wherever you're going to be moving next. So let's just have a quick recap on that. Feet together is a B stance, okay? Bring your feet into a V shape, eagle stance. If you have one spare shoe between your feet, bear stance. If you go out to shoulder width, bend your knees, remember, let your arms hang, you got a horse stance. And then if you double that, imagine you're stood in some snow or on the beach, riding horse stance, grab the reins, okay, sit on the horse. All right, so you've got a bow there, and when we start and when we finish, you've also got the first 5 ways of standing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a warm-up. Now I'll just make these moves up, so I'm just going to be jumping around. At home, if you're doing this, maybe if you're doing this with more than one person, so if there's 2 or 3 of you stood there, or 4 or 5, or a whole school class, this sort of thing, maybe pick on somebody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say change. When I say change, if there's more than one of you, then the other person or somebody who's leading this within the school or something like that, if you point towards the other person, they've got to do a move. All right? So if I set off and I do some star jumps or something like that, and suddenly if I say change and we're with more than one person, look to the other person and say, okay, it's your go. And then what you've got to do is you've got to copy each other. So if I start doing star jumps, everybody does star jumps. If I start doing some punches, everybody does some punches. If I hop on one leg, everybody hops on one leg. But the next person, what they're going to do, they've got to lead, so I have to copy them. So if they start doing, I don't know, if they start doing bouncing on the spot, I have to bounce on the spot. All right? So you're going to copy each other, but take it in turns to copy. I'm just going to go around and I'm going to get the music going, so I'm going to come off camera probably for 10 seconds or so. Hopefully it works. We've had a few technical issues this morning, but we'll see if it goes, and I'll be back in 10-ish seconds, okay?
Dinner is on.
Okay, I'm going to march on the spot.
Radio's playing. It's a Sunday again. Mother is
Okay, and change.
It's you. Dad's with his sons. The greenhouse is busy inside. Pruning again. Everything's easy.
Get ready.
And makes
Change.
sense. I like it. I like it.
Okay, change again.
Sisters in bed. Mother is shouting to her. Pack up the dolls. Dinner is ready. Go
Change.
tell Dad. The whole house smells good. I look at the street this season. Exactly the same. The windows are playing Sunday
Change.
songs. I like it. I like it.
Change.
Don't think I'm wrong. I'm singing songs, just watching Sundays on.
Change. Change. As silly as you like. Change.
Like it,
Change.
I like it.
Change.
I like it. I like it.
Excellent. Right, shall we turn that off? Okay, maybe I'll start taking the coat off and the hat. Maybe not, it's still cold. Right, Tai Chi, okay? Tai Chi, really old way of exercise. A lot of people out there, what they do is this style, that style. This is from here, this is from there. The original Tai Chi goes back thousands of years. Goes back around 3,000 years. New forms of Tai Chi, 500-600 years, something like that. But the original versions go back a long way. And they've mixed and mashed, and they've created this way and created that way and created this way. The basic term for Chi is breath. Okay? Chi means breath. So when you put Tai Chi together, the translation actually means grand or supreme, ultimate, this sort of thing. But the two words actually together mean completely different things until you put them there. But Chi is what the Asian people, Chinese people in the East, is the vitality, is the essence within the body, this sort of thing, the breath, the energy, the power within the body. So if somebody says good Chi, means sometimes you feel like you're glowing. Somebody says to you, oh, you look really well, this sort of thing. Well, the Chinese or the Eastern sort of parts of the world, they would say good Chi, really good Chi, means you look well, you feel well to each other, this sort of thing. And good Chi means good breath. So Tai Chi, first two movements I'm going to show you today is the crane wakes up, okay, and then I'll show you another one after that called the crane catches the breeze or catches the wind. Right, so crane wakes up is without doubt the most important movement, I believe anyway, in the whole of Tai Chi. They're giving you the very top one to start with, and it doesn't look much at all, but there's an awful lot in it, and it'll take some practice. It'll take a little bit of time, to get the right sort of bits to it, this sort of thing. So I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it facing, and I'm going to do it to the sides, this sort of thing. I may even do it so I'm facing that way, so you can see sort of a back view, which is not going to be a lot, but it'll give you a sort of, a full rounded view of everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my feet in a horse stance. So if you all copy that, put your feet in a horse stance. Okay, so shoulder width. And then, what I want you to do then is I want you to bend your knees slightly. Remember, it's a horse stance, you're sitting on the horse. Skinny one, but you're sitting on it, okay? Feel your feet on the floor. Alright, so what I mean by that is, don't have it so you feel you're rocking forward or backwards, so maybe part of your heels up or your toes are up. Put your feet on the floor and feel the floor with your toes, okay? Feel as if you're like a tree that's rooted into the ground. All right? So bend your knees. All right? And all we're going to do now is you're just going to lift your arms up. So lift your arms up about as high as your face, and then bring them back down. Okay? There. This is sort of basic version for you at the moment. So lift your arms up, about level with your face, and then turn your fingers like that and come down. All right? So if I show this sideways on, I'll do it in both directions for you. So if I stand sideways on, there, and what I'm going to do is bend my knees, and I lift my arms, and I bring them down. Okay? If I do that this way, so again, stand in your horse stance, bend your knees, lift up, and then down. Now if you look at the side on view here, what you get, if I just do this with one hand, one arm, you get in this movement. Okay? So when it comes up, your wrist is slightly bent, relaxed, really relaxed. No, not this. Okay? Really, really relaxed there. And your elbow is going to be slightly higher than your wrist. And then the elbow sits down and you'll create that there. Okay? So you go up and down. Going back to the original Karate Kid film, which I know most of the adults watching this will have seen that. When Mr. Miyagi asks Daniel to paint the fence, if you imagine your fingers are like paint bristles, and you're going to go up and you paint the fence, yeah? So you run up the fence and then turn, and you use the paint on the other side of the paintbrush on the bristles the other side, and you come down. So paint the fence, okay? That's what he says in the first Karate Kid film. Paint the fence. So up and down. Awful lot of things cross over as years go by, and an awful lot of that was borrowed from Tai Chi and stuff like this. Tai Chi is really old, but the main bit here is to get this fluidity in your arms. Okay, get that fluidity. If you think of sort of a snake and how a snake moves, snakes really do move very, very, very beautifully. They move and they twist and move around. And this is what I want you to look for with your arms as you come up. I want you to think of that, so it's never stopping. So if I lift my arms, if I go up like that, I don't come up and stop. What I do is I come up, and as my wrists come up, my elbows, if you see, are already going down. There, okay? So like I said, it's quite a complicated move. So you go up, so my wrists are last. You can see these are first going up, these are last. But when I go up, this part of my hand's still going up, but that part of my hand's coming down. And then we all go together. Okay? So let's try that again. So feet shoulder width apart, lift your arms up and then down. Okay? Now I'm just going to add one more thing for today. Breathing. When you lift your arms up in the air, I want you to breathe in through your nose. And then when you bring your hands down, I want you to breathe that out through your mouth, okay? So on the way up, breathe in. On the way down, breathe out, right? When you breathe out, don't have your mouth wide. Have it so you've got a little sort of like hole between your lips. So imagine you've got maybe a small straw, this sort of thing, like off, you know, on a milk little carton or an orange carton type thing. They have little mini straws on the side. So when you breathe out, you're not going to have sort of like your mouth wide. Your mouth's going to be really quite sort of like nearly close your lips. And this way what you're going to do is you're going to control the breath out, which is really important. If you breathe in, it's difficult to control the breath when you think you've got two you know, 2 holes there in your nose, 2 nostrils. The air's coming in, right? There's nothing there to shut that down, to stop it from coming in. So if you breathe in, you breathe all the way in and then down. Then when you breathe out, you can control the breath coming out depending on the width of your lips, how wide your mouth is. So as you come out, yeah, just a nice, as if you were blowing gently, you know, gently on the backs of your hands, this sort of thing, or gently on, I don't know, on a feather, that sort of thing. Okay, so we'll try that with the breath. So stand in your horse stance. Lift your arms up and breathe in. Then breathe out. Okay, now the aim is if you go up and let's say it takes you 5 seconds before your fingers start to come down, right? It's going to take you 5 seconds to get them all the way down there. So if it's 5 seconds up, it's 5 seconds down. Okay? Whatever it is to go up, the same has got to be on the way down. That's where it's getting a little bit more complicated. So if you've got somebody who's watching who can take a really big breath in, you've got to do the same on the way out. Okay? It's not sort of one-sided. Tai Chi is based on opposites. So if you think about it, you breathe in, you breathe out, opposite. You have night and you have day. You have male, you have female. This side, that side, up, down. All opposites, loads and loads of opposites. But without one, the other can't exist, that sort of thing. So if you breathed in, if you didn't need to, you know, you didn't need to do anything else, you'd be no opposite. So how on earth would you do it? You can't. It has to be in opposites, okay? So you breathe in and then you breathe out. Everything's based on opposites. Now you guys can't see this, but we've got a neighbour who's moved in, and just behind their cat's coming to see me. So I might get this huge, big, ginger, fluffy thing. He's just behind the camera at the moment, and I know he's a boy, and he's looking at me because the neighbours have told, and he's not scared of me, which is really nice. So he may come for a cuddle in a bit, I don't know. Normally Colin's down here. For anybody who's watched anything up to July, you see Colin, but at the moment he's got more sense. He's actually in bed at this moment in time, curled up on our bed, I think, asleep. Great place to be when it's cold. Okay, so the second movement in Tai Chi, you're going up and down, all right? The next one is the crane catches the wind or the crane catches the breeze. And what we're going to do is we'll start off just doing your footwork. So stand in your horse stance, lean over, and if you do that, it will allow you to lift your toes on the opposite foot, and then you can turn them, okay? All right, so then if you come back, so lean over this side, lift up, and turn. And that's all your footwork is. That's all it is, okay? So, lift up, turn. And then come back, lean over, lift up your toes, and turn. There, and come back, okay? So, if you like, that's the bottom part of the world all sorted out. Now we've got to do the top half of the world, okay? So we've got to do now your arms. So stand in your horse stance, remember that footwork, stand in your horse stance. Bring your arms and put them as if you've got them around a great big sort of beach ball, or big exercise ball, or big balloon, okay? Like that, bring them round. Lean over, lift your toes, and as you turn, open your arms, okay? And then when you get out to here, stretch open all your chest muscles there, and then flap your wings, so do that. So it's like pull back and then flap your wings there. Then come back, cross them in front of you, lean over this way and do the same again, but in this direction. Turn, and then come back, okay? So if you do that again, turn, come back, turn, come back. Now, as with the first move, we have to add breathing to that. So when you open your arms in Tai Chi, you always breathe in. So breathe in through your nose. So when you do this here, you and then breathe out. Then breathe in. And then breathe out. Okay? So breathe in, breathe out. If you're of a certain age, or if you've ever gone into this, you'll know that blacksmiths years ago used to have things called bellows, and those bellows would be some fabric, and they would open them up and it would suck the air in at the other end, and then it would push down, and the air would make the fire within the coals much hotter. So what you will find is when you start to breathe in like this, when you start to breathe in and then breathe out, you're like the bellows in the blacksmith sort of thing. Your bellows are your lungs, all right? So we've got to breathe, really important. Remember, chi means breath, okay? So breath, this is what we're going to, this is what we'll actually, you know, concentrate on as the days go by, in the nicest possible sense. I hope the days don't run into months, this sort of thing, and anybody looking back on this will know how difficult this time actually is, you know, for the whole of the world, how difficult this actually is. At the moment we've had over 1.8 million people sadly have lost their lives worldwide, which is a terrible thing, and it's something that hopefully when people are looking back on this video, you'll look back on it and you'll learn from this, and if we've continued to make mistakes, hopefully you'll be right in those mistakes, but as I say, in the future we should be looking back on these times, you know, with learned eyes, should I say. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day. Do the breathing, do the movements, watch this stuff back again, get everything good for tomorrow, all right? And then what I'll do is tomorrow I will come down again and I'll do a nice live stream again, which I'll put up onto the YouTube channel, and then you guys can access that from there. So, last thing to do, hold the moon. So if you remember, bring your hand across the front of your face, bring your feet together, bring your cloud across and bow, and have a really lovely day. Take care. I shall turn it off.